Hi! Today we're going to learn about how to square root. Now before we get started on solving these four problems, what is a square root? A square root is a number in which you multiply, is when you have a problem which has a square root on it. It's a number inside here, that when you multiply a number times the same number, it equals the number inside the root. For example, if we want to find the square root of 4, well, if we multiply 2 times 2, it would equal 4. So the square root of 4 would equal 2. So, let's get started with problem 1, the square root of 64. Now let's find the factors of 64. They are 32 and 2, 16 and 4, 8 and 8, and 64 and 1. So, as you can see, there are two factors where when you multiply by together, they're equal 64. And they're the same number. That is 8 and 8. So, the square root of 64 is equal to 8. Now let's go to the second problem. What is the square root of 128? Well, let's list the factors. 64 and 2, 32 and 4, 16 and 8, and 128 and 1. So, as you can see, there are no factors which when you multiply the same number, then that equals 128. So we're going to have to do it a different way. Now we know that we have to find a factor on the left side or on the right side which can be square root and be a whole number. So there are 16 and 4. If we take out 16, it would be 16 times 8, which is equal to 128. So when we take something out of the root, we actually have to square root that. So that would be 4. So we would have 4 on the outside of the square root. And then what is remaining is 8. 4 square root 8. So that would be the answer for problem 2. 4 square root 8. Now let's see the square root of 196. Let's look at the factors. We would have 98 and 2, 49 and 4. We would also have 14 times 14 and 196 and 1. As you can see, there are factors which when you multiply them together, it equals 196. So the square root of 196 is equal to 14. Now let's look at the last problem. So let's look at the factors there are 4 and 2 and 8 and 1. There are no other factors. So we can't have a whole number that would be a square root. We would have to have a number on the outside of the root and then a number in the inside of the root. So let's first find out, is there any number that can be, when it's square root, it would have a whole number? Yes, it would be 4. So when we square root 4, it would be equal to 2. And we would have 2 in the root. So it would be 2 square root 2.